Yeah. Want to come and sit? No.
What's happening? What's that?
Build something on top of his BART Plaza, man. Leave the ground floor open for BART and put some on top, man.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that proposal for the Balboa Park BART station. They have a lot of public land right there, and they're trying to do something.
So what
like
group
that.
are you guys with?
The Plaza 16 Coalition.
What's the Plaza 16?
It's a coalition of community groups, community members who have started meeting since the proposal for two 10-story luxury apartment buildings.
Where?
Right where the Walgreens is, the Burger King, the restaurants down
so
there.
The whole corner there.
Right around the BART station, they're trying to build two 10-story towers.
How do you sign up?
Well, that's 5.
That's 5?
That building's 5.
So how do you sign up?
Well,
isn't that a violation of the planning code? Well, you guys have an organization, right?
Yeah, that side's Spanish, the other side's English. The organization is Plaza 16 Coalition.
Yes, so how do you guys have meetings or something?
Yep, there's this coming Thursday, October 16th, meeting at St. John's Church is 1 block
I
this
know what
way.
that is, yeah.
And this is going to be a day where we speak out at the Board of Education. We want them to oppose the project.
So what's the Board of Education saying?
The most recent meeting, there was a lot of the developers brought people out from the community to support it. So we really need to show up.
So what people they bring out? The people that all have condos?
There's an elementary school over there. I guess they brought some parents or something from there. But so we really need to mobilize for the next meeting.
Well, part of it is that a lot of people here are upset because the people hang out in the BART Plaza here.
Right.
So I guess they assume they put a luxury apartment building over there, they'll chase some of those folks away.
Right.
And where are those folks going to go?
Exactly.
You're going to push everybody out of the city, man.
It's a class issue.
That's what they want. They're going to push them all out of the city. We're going to go over to Hayward, Oakland, Richmond, and we'll be paying higher rents and push those people out.
Right.
And where will they go? Stockton? What's that? Visalia?
That's a good.
It's a ripple effect, man.
And the ripple effect is not just in San Francisco rippling into Oakland. I mean, we're seeing it as far as rising rents in Antioch, in Concord, in San Jose, in Redwood City. We're seeing evictions. We're seeing this across the Bay Area. And what happens in the Mission, and in this way, I think, to think regionally is important, does impact all these places. We're doing a case study in Concord where we know that there's just been, a spike in evictions, and landlords are telling us that, well, we've evicted all of our low-income tenants, and mostly Latino tenants, because we are close to the BART and we are making way for the laptop crowd.
Wow.
So it's happening, right? It's happening across the Bay Area, and so I think to be thinking, we need to be thinking both locally and regionally. So I don't know. I think the pressures in the Mission are going to continue, and what we've been seeing, right, is not only we have our strong subsidized housing stock, strong being maybe 5 or 6% of the housing stock in the Mission, and just a boom in the high income population and a total obliteration of the moderate income households. So really thinking about how to stabilize those households, I think, is sort of the key to the answer.
Now it's like just the hard and then
What's happening? How you doing? Bay Area, man. Okay.
Thank you. Seriously. Where are we going?
Thank you, Dio. Thank you. Who said they knew the...
And I'm 68 years old, and I am tired of hearing everything we've heard today. It's all great, it's all doable, but it hasn't happened. I work for MED, the Mission Economic Development Agency, and every day I see people coming to us who've been evicted, who have no money to move, who are living in the streets or living in subhuman condition. Every day I see families who are torn apart because their businesses are failing. Child care providers who have to move because everybody wants to live in the Mission, and they can't afford to take care of the kids anymore because they have to move to one room or two rooms. And so every day people are leaving and losing what little dignity they have. And I can't stand it anymore. My 68 years are almost over, and I want to see some change in this city that I love. I want to see some parity for low-income people, for women, for men, for people who deserve some dignity in their life. These are hardworking people. They're not asking for anything, but they need a decent place to live. They need good schools for their children. They need food on their table, and they need an education. So the question is, what's going to happen after this wonderful forum where so many great ideas have happened? Because I've been to forums before where we've talked about the changes that could happen and nothing has happened. And so I want to know who's taking this back to the mayor and to the board of supervisors and to the developers, and who's going to make the changes in the planning department. Because nothing is going to happen until somebody makes some changes and sees that it's almost too late for people here.
My name is Audrey Cooper, and for the last month, I've been the editor-in-chief of the San Francisco Chronicle. The first people here were not Americans, they were Native Americans. Then a new group of people came into the Mission District, and then a new group after that, and now we're seeing change yet again. And I think the thing that I really want everybody to get out of this is that change is constant, but if as a community we can discuss it in an intelligent and rational way, we're going to be better off for it. So this is what I hope is going to be the beginning of several conversations with this community and with the city at large, the Bay Area and Northern California, about all of the issues that are affecting us.
low-income Latinos are no longer being able to come into the neighborhood. At the same time, there's evictions happening on an ongoing basis. It would be great for this conversation to focus on what we collectively can do together to change this inflection point. What would it take to shift this trend upwards again?
You know, we saw on the film the Mosqueda family selling their house. That is the model of the Irish moving out. So success would be that not a single person would get evicted. And if you wanted to move out and sell your house, that's
be on your own terms.
Right. But nobody would get evicted. There would be no speculation. And that we would build housing that is in balance with the incomes of the job growth. So if we have half of the people making less than the median, then we would be building housing for half of the people at that, half of the housing at that income. Who here heard the story of Benito Santiago? A Mission District resident who was able to fight off an Ellis Act and turn his home, a 4-unit building, into permanent affordable housing that he will live in, and when he leaves, somebody else will move in, and that house will continue to be permanently affordable, those 4 units. So I think one of the things that we need to do is figure out how we get every one of those units that is being targeted for an Ellis Act or a condo conversion or an eviction, and be able, through the city and city resources, to buy it and take it off the speculative market. Just building new affordable housing isn't enough if at the same time you're losing what you've got. 60, 70% of their income in rent, who are in precarious positions, who, if they lose a job or they lose their second job, will no longer be here. So where are those folks going to be? Who knows?
What artists does that group in?
Where are those artists going to be when they can't afford to be here?
Oakland.
Oakland. Antioch, Vallejo, right? So that is, so I think we need to be very honest about what the market provides. The market right now says those people live in Antioch. You belong in Antioch. That is what the market right now is telling all of us.
Even a discussion of protecting neighborhoods. And the discussion has had those folks go as far as to say that those of us who are thinking or talking about protecting communities, we don't believe in supply and demand, which is crazy that someone would actually make that contention. But I think that we have to call what's happening what it is, which is that we're not talking about supply and demand. We're talking about people who in the end are true believers in supply-side economics, who want to bring back Reaganomics when it comes to housing policy, and who are talking about housing policy with this notion that if you only build luxury housing, that benefit will somehow magically trickle down to help the middle class and low-income individuals. You know, the Bush senior talked about voodoo economics. Well, this is the voodoo housing policy, that you can have affordable housing even if what you don't build is affordable housing.
Because what it's telling all of us is that if you don't, or you're not in that top 12%, you can't afford what the market is providing you, right? So that is why I think we're feeling so daunted by the problem. And what it means is that we have to think really big, and that the commitments that we're asking the mayor, that we're asking the supervisor, are to think really big, and that, you know, as Adrian said, it's got to be at the state, it's got to be at the region. So what I would ask, you know, the politicians is, where are you in talking about the region sharing tax wealth across the region and forcing every municipality to build the affordable housing that they need to build because they're building those jobs? We have, you know, the politicians, they all sit on these ABAG boards, the Bay Area Regional Governance thing, and they have no money, the suburbs have more votes, and nothing ever happens, right? We have to think really big. How do we transform that thing? We need something around regional governance to make sure that we're dealing with things on a regional basis. But where our power is Where Mayor Lee's power is, and where David Campos's power is right here in San Francisco. So we have to start with those really local solutions and grow out, right? And what are those really local solutions? Well, so right now in the Mission District, if you look at what's in the pipeline, 7% of what's in the pipeline is scheduled to be affordable. The other 93% is market rate. What's that mean? So you guys know 19th and Valencia, the last project that got built, and you bought the corner unit at the top? You remember how much that one went for? I thought it was closer to $1 million, but.
Well, I mean, they're rent.
Yeah. So we're talking $2 million units on Valencia 19. You got the corner top floor, I think it was $2 million. So what have we built? For every 1 unit of market rate housing, we built 1 affordable unit. Go back to the median. One more night. Half the people make more in the median, half the people make less. Okay? Now those numbers would, might blow our city budget out of the water. But I think one of the things is, if you are going to talk about solutions, we can't be talking about a single solution. We got to be talking about a whole range of solutions. And the whole range of solutions means money. We lose about 79 units every year in the Mission District alone, converted to condos or taken out of rent control through LSAC. If we could buy every one of those units that is lost and turn it into permanently affordable housing, and the city's willing to spend $250,000 per unit, which is around what they currently spend, to buy those units and take them off the market. If you do the math backwards, that's often what these rent-controlled buildings per unit costs go for. It would take us $197 million over the next 10 years just for the Mission District. We could accomplish that.
Affordable housing. I've been applying for affordable housing for 11 years. It's not that you tell me there is affordable housing for you who make less than $23,000 a year and I'm educated. Okay? It's not that I speak English and I don't have a degree. I do. I'm a single mom. And every time I go, I either don't make enough or I overqualified, so I need to be on the street and be a homeless to get a house. It's not that tomorrow I'm gonna go and you're gonna give me a house. I've been waiting for 11 years and I can count with my toe fingers and my 10 fingers every single place that I had applied. Ocean, Chinatown, Mission, Valencia Garden. You know what? I don't qualify. Why? I have the right to have a decent place to raise my daughter and be able to send her to school so she won't live in the place that I live infested with drugs, with mice. I have asthma. The guy doesn't want to come and clean my place. I've been out of work for a week because I was at the hospital. My job won't pay that money, and when I go to you, you say, oh, you don't have enough money. It sounds great, but in reality, it sounds good. The reality is good. And I represent many Latino women, single women, not with one child. More than that. What hope are you going to give me? There is no hope. I've been working for my people 11 years. Where's my chance?
Thank you.
I make over $100,000 for the year. I need that retirement fund to survive here in the Mission where I was born and raised. You raise Twitter, you raise Google, you raise the corporations. Do not raise the retiree fund. And that's what the politicians, the supervisors, the senators should be looking at. Really, you've got to raise the corporations that are causing this. And you've got to ask them for money, not the retiree fund. I need that money to survive here if I can. Thank you.
Stop picking up that,
Can't sleep, can't breathe.
I don't know, it depends which one you're waiting for, but.
Tell your employers this is untenable. You cannot continue to do this. You're destroying our environment, destroying your neighborhood. Gotta consider your neighbor.
I'm 78 years old and I can't sleep ever since 5:30 in the morning. The boss is coming 5:30 in the morning here. And I got tenants here and I can't rent.
Selfish isn't smart. Selfish isn't smart.
Get out of here. And we'll come.
at our expense. Corporate profits at our expense. Corporate profits at My brother, you work for Tesla. Yeah. You work for Tesla, an electric car company, man. Dude, you can't be in favor of these 60 buses belching their smoke into my window every morning, man. I can't breathe. That's true. No, I gotta get them out of the city. It's intolerable. We can't live here. Yeah. It's no offense to you guys. I'm sure you're good people, you know, but you gotta tell your bosses that this is not tenable. I mean,
and you know, Tesla is a new addition. We counted 14 corporations. Now there are 15. Another empty bus.
Another empty bus. Another empty bus. Another empty bus. Another.
What do you know this guy for?
Being in the bike lane. Blocking the bike lane.
Yeah? So, how do you think it impacts the neighbors in the area?
Well, we are neighbors in the area.
What's that?
We are neighbors in the area.
But what about the neighbors that don't work for tech companies?
Like, are you talking about bus service-wise, or?
No, people, I mean, the impact of the buses on the neighborhood.
So the buses are kind of poorly placed. Like here, they're on this side of the road, and so they, in order to turn left, they need to cross over lanes. It used to be up there where it was more, it would block traffic less. I know that some people floated plans for kind of like having sort of bus stations where they can integrate better with the rest of the traffic. I don't really know, I haven't seen details, so don't know about those. Yeah, mostly the buses just take a lot of cars off the road. If there were actually offices here, then it would be required. People could work and live in the city. But for whatever reason, the company has decided that either it's too expensive or they prefer having everyone in one place. And Lord knows I'm not going to live down there. This is where all my friends are. So that's not really an option. Also, if BART could actually go all the way around the bay, that would probably work too. I know a couple of counties on the peninsula decided they didn't want to actually pay for it, so that's why BART ends at Mowbray, when in fact it was supposed to go all the way around South Bay. The public transit in general, like, you know, it doesn't go into Marin for the same reason. If you've looked at traffic on 101 and 280, you know that you need better just rail options for getting up and down. Caltrain's not bad, but it's not close to where I live. Can't really take that one.
Even the 23rd Street station?
The 23rd Street station that's over the hill in Dogpatch.
Yeah.
Because I live on this side. I used to date boyfriends who lived on Prairie Hill. It was a half-hour walk just to get to them. The 48 bus can take me over there, but that's like 30-minute ride as opposed to the 10-minute walk I have here. So it's much easier for me to go this route than the other one.
It's more convenient.
Yeah. I mean, you just, if your commute's going to be like 90 plus minutes, you end up going with whatever's shortest.
Some people from the community feel that the buses bring people in and pay more rent and kick out the people who used to live here. What do you think about that? Is that fair?
I can see why. I can see why. Rent's getting more expensive. While rent control is pretty common, it still gets a little bit more expensive under rent control. People want to live in SF, but they don't want to actually make room to live in SF. And there's good reasons for that as well. And so in the end, you end up having more people in smaller space. And when only a small fraction of the market can actually expand to meet that, you end up with this weird divide between like so-called luxury housing and everything else. So I see like every time there's referendums come around, there's always a couple that are around affordable housing initiatives. But in the end, a lot of people just don't want to build it. Like right over there, just 2 blocks, there are plans to put up a giant apartment block that would have, I think, been like 50% affordable housing. I don't know, don't quote me on that one. But of course, Bernal doesn't like it because they think it'll block their view. Even though it's an empty lot, it's not doing anything. I know there's, I think I've heard in the state senate, there was a plan to release height restrictions around public transit. As it turns out, public transit by their definition is dense enough in San Francisco, it would be a substantial portion of the city, so it is a major change. But being able to live close to BART and have more people close to BART would be fantastic. Like for all the people who work in the city but can't afford to live here, how do they get here? They take BART. Being able to live close to BART makes that possible. So,
thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
I've called this place home, and I am here to call out one group of people who are destroying our town, and that is the tech industry.
Yeah!
While you open your app and you look for your rideshare car, remember that somebody somewhere in this city who is black or brown has been displaced, so you can rename our neighborhoods from the rich, historic Western Addition to NOPA. Remember, as you go to your sloppy bars and play beer pong, that someone is being brutalized by the police department so that you can take over their neighborhood.
Yeah!
Get up and you're not progressive because you moved here from Chicago 5 years ago and you do yoga. You need to participate in this city, full of diversity, rich in history. Black people built San Francisco.
Yeah.
Black people built the Western Addition, not NOPA, the Western Addition. They built apartheid, and when people like Trump wanted to incarcerate Japanese people during World War II, the Japanese turned to the black people and said, protect my property. Because they knew that they built this city and they could count on them. And now we're being erased. We're being called unicorns. Oh my God, it's so great that you like are from here. You're like a unicorn. Wait, hold on, my Uber's here. Nobody cares about your Uber. We care about our lives. And you need to come and stand up with us. No more payroll tax breaks for Twitter as they push all these people out of the Tenderloin. Where are those people gonna go? So that they can drink their $5 lattes with almond milk? Where are those people going to go? It's time for us to stand up for ourselves. And if the tech industry isn't going to stand with us, then they need to go back to Mountain View.
No justice, no peace. If we don't get no justice, you don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, they don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, you don't get no peace. No justice, 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 no peace. Do we tolerate discrimination? No. Do we tolerate discrimination? No. Do we tolerate racism? No. Do we tolerate Trumpism? No. Do we tolerate Trumpism? No. Do we tolerate discrimination? No. Do we tolerate discrimination? No. Discrimination has got to go.
we're here today is we're addressing discrimination that's taking place of African American employees at the Chief Medical Examiner's Office, and that discrimination in terms of hiring, in terms of treatment, in terms of ongoing impact is something that we see is prevalent throughout the city and county of San Francisco. This is a microcosm of what African Americans face and deal with in San Francisco, and why African Americans are being forced out of San Francisco. If it's harder to get the job, if when you're at the job you get scrutinized at a higher level, it becomes really difficult to maintain your place in this community, the community of San Francisco, and that's what we're seeing. There's a correlation between this microcosm of what's happening here and what's happening in the broader San Francisco that we've been seeing over the last 40 to 50 years. Studies recently to show that the migration out in San Francisco is something that is a continued trend. I forget the reference off the top of the head, but there's a study done from 2010 to 2014 to say that San Francisco is roughly losing 1,700 African American residents on an annual basis, which aligns with the larger statistical numbers done through census, as to where in mid-1970s the black population was over 90,000. In the last census that was done in 2010, that number was down under 50,000. So if you just continue those trends, is where you have the numbers to where the population in San Francisco now is probably under 40,000, and under 5% is what most people estimate.
Well, me, myself, I used to live here. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I commute 39 miles one way to get to work. I could not afford to raise a family in San Francisco. I had to move my family to Fairfield, and many of us had to follow suit. We can't afford the rents. We can't afford the dream of home ownership here in San Francisco. So many of us commute from very far to come to work. So as a banquet server, our shifts vary. It's based on demand of business. And so, my day, typically, I know that my day, I tack on 3 hours to my shift, because it takes me anywhere from an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and a half, and that's with no major accidents, no accidents. If that, I could be 2 hours just to get to work. I drive. If I don't drive, I do carpool, casual carpool when I can, or I do BART, and I have to drive to BART to catch BART, and then that's a 50-minute ride. Yeah, I either go to El Cerrito del Norte or I go to North Concord. Yeah, so, because in banquets, our shifts do follow a little bit different. But yeah, if I'm working a double that, requires me to often have maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, up to 3 hours in between my shift, I have to tack that on to, that long day as well. So I could be here in San Francisco to get a full day's work for 10 hours. And on top of that, I have to tack on the 3 hours to come in, to come into the city and get back home. Well, parking is very expensive. When I drive in, I have to park a few blocks down the way, and if there's parking available, I can get it at $15, which is a huge break. If not, parking across the street, is very expensive, $24 for a day.
I used to live in San Francisco, which is not too far away from my workplace. But because of the conditions and the high rising of the rent, I no longer could afford it. I ended up working 2 or 3 jobs and still could not afford to live in the city. So I made the difficult decision to move to the outside of the city. I live in Antioch, which is about 60 miles away from the city. Unfortunately, since I moved to Antioch, I have to commute each way an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic, which is, in a daily basis, I roughly spend 5 hours of commuting just to come and make a decent living. For anybody to understand what I go through, those people should share the ride with me and feel the frustration, feel the stress, feel how long. Sometimes, I hate to say it, by the time I get to my work job, I am so frustrated, it's going to take me a while just to be relaxed and do my job. Well, at this present time, I'm just working one job. I did at once work 3 jobs, 3 different jobs. One thing about the union is try to help us maintaining and improving our work conditions.